Papa Arkhurst was your typical nerd because my background is actually in computer science. One of the things that my mother probably did well when we were growing up, besides the nurturing and also ensuring that we were always using our mind, was she always reminded us that there's more to life than just what you get and what you take. For me, I engaged or I came across Toastmasters at a time when I was looking for a solution for a problem, or should I say two problems. The first one was I was tired of hearing that Ghanaians were timid. And so sometimes when we went with our counterparts and we had to express ourselves, we seemed to choke. And I always wanted to find out what is it that makes us choke when we're putting ourselves out there, and how do we improve or build that confidence? So I was looking for a solution for that. The second one, which was a bigger solution, because I kept Googling this and trying to find out what is the problem of Africa. And so it was really at a very low moment in my life where I found myself in Korea that I was asking myself, is this all life has to offer?
It's visa. Visa with the time. Slow visa. It's visa. It's visa. It's visa. Visa with the time. It's visa. It's visa. Africa, gone is tomorrow. Today is here. Achievement to be accomplished. Nothing to fear. It's visa.
Welcome to Be Inspired with Stories from Africa. We are an NGO dedicated to amplifying stories to inspire change. And for this episode, we titled it Toast to a Master. And we are very happy that Toastmasters work has reached multiple cities in the globe. And to see your own leadership efforts in empowering young people in terms of communication leadership, it has been exemplary. And we are hoping that your story would serve as this replica to inspire other young people out there willing to join Toastmasters or even amplify Toastmaster to the broader community. So to begin with, let's look at the story angle from who Toastmaster is, its vision, and its mission. Do you mind sharing?
Absolutely. But first and foremost, I'm not sure if your audience are young people, but I like to correct this sometimes, because a lot of times when I meet people who meet Toastmasters, say, oh, this would be great for young people. And I just want to quickly clarify that Toastmasters is for everybody, not just young people. So we have people who are 70 in Toastmasters, we have people who are 80 in Toastmasters, and they are equally benefited. And we have a lot of very powerful leaders, CEOs, and top of organizations who are also benefiting from Toastmasters.
Okay.
Toastmasters was started by a gentleman named Ralph Smedley in 1924 in the US of A. He started it when he was part of an organization called YMCA and felt that he needed something that could help men at that time learn how to speak in public. Toastmasters is currently 100 years and it's evolved from that into 142 countries. And now the tagline has moved from so many different things, including finding your voice, to where leaders are made. So now we're more interested in building leaders and not just communicators or public speakers. I joined Toastmasters in 2011, and I've been in the program ever since. And I have seen it transform so many people. 1, in building confidence. 2, in structuring their thoughts. 3, in being better with their time management. 4, in becoming better leaders. 5, in connecting with teams much more appropriately, and so forth and so on. So a lot of times we have built a reputation for being the de facto space in building public speakers, but I think I would not do it justice if I don't explain that there's a whole lot more that comes into the program that is of benefit to whoever may be interested in being a part of Toastmasters. So the mission of Toastmasters is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And what that really means in practice is that we create safe environments for regular meetings where people, regardless of what stage they are in their public speaking journey or in their leadership journey, find people who are supportive and ready to help them, nurture them so they can grow in those skills. So it's not a harsh environment where people come and get scared or get bullied, but a very conducive environment that is supportive, that has the people ready and excited to help you go through that journey of starting from a novice, if you are, or an expert, if you are, to becoming even better and greater. And it uses two de facto tools that have existed since time, but that a lot of us have not nurtured. One, practice makes better. And so the consistent practice helps people to become amazing, right? The second one is feedback is the breakfast that champions eat and nuzzle on. And what it is that for a lot of organizations or for a lot of people, taking feedback is not easy, but we've made it a lifestyle in Toastmasters and it's part of what we do. And so over time, you learn to grow because people are consistently giving you feedback and consistently we improve. And these are the two things that make Toastmasters work. And these are the two things that help the mission get realized of a supportive and collaborative learning experience in which you can now be empowered to learn to communicate more effectively and to learn to lead more effectively, through which you build self-confidence and makes you feel like you can take on the world.
Okay, thanks for sharing this. I can already see how you've improved in Toastmaster or you've grown yourself. You mentioned yourself at the beginning and who you currently are now. Can you tell us who Papa Arkhurst is and how he has grown in the Toastmaster journey?
Beautiful. So Papa Arkhurst was your typical nerd because my background is actually in computer science and I love technology and actually did move in my career to quite some good heights in technology. I worked for the public service. I've been a coder. I've been through all those technology types.
One of the things that fascinates me more than anything is when they talk about perpetual engines or perpetual dynamos. I'm talking about engines that never lose power, never leave energy, just keep running. And that's how I think about a self-motivated leader. This year, we're empowering self-motivated problem solvers.
Currently, I'm more of a people development consultant. So I do coaching, I do training, I build leaders and communicators. Why this big transition? Because I've transitioned from what I call my career to my calling. So if you ask me what has Toastmasters done for you, it's allowed me or helped me find my path and my value and what I have to offer the world. By allowing me to confront myself, learn to communicate my thoughts and my ideas and my vision, things that when you struggle to communicate, you find difficult to live or attract people to help you achieve. It's also helped me to understand engaging people. People, if you're going to be a leader, you need to understand and engage people. You need to understand how to connect with people. You need to know how to serve. And the Toastmasters program allows you to do that. So from when I joined the Toastmasters and the love that I was received with and the comfort and the support system that I was received with, to becoming a part of this community, to committing myself totally to it because I saw that it was good, learning, growing, engaging, going through the program, getting to the heights I could get to, and then now submitting myself to train others, to mentor others, and then also to help to build chapters or clubs where people could also help to grow has been a huge transformation for me. And I probably wouldn't have gone this full circle if I hadn't gone through a structured program like Toastmasters.
Okay, would you say that your background has anything to do with who you are today, apart from being a nerd?
Absolutely. And my background, when you say my background, if you mean like my upbringing, I think one of the things that my mother probably did well when we were growing up, besides the nurturing and also ensuring that we were always using our mind, was she always reminded us that we were a part of a society. And so we were not just individuals. So I've always heard, watched her live, watched her examples to realize that there's more to life than just what you get and what you take. And I think it's very important, if you're going to make the best out of Toastmasters, to have clarity on your why. For me, I engaged or I came across Toastmasters at a time when I was looking for a solution for a problem, or should I say two problems. The first one was I was tired of hearing that Ghanaians were timid. And so sometimes when we went with our counterparts and we had to express ourselves, we seemed to choke. And I always wanted to find out, what is it that makes us choke when we're putting ourselves out there, and how do we improve or build our confidence? So I was looking for a solution for that. The second one, which was a bigger solution, because I kept Googling this and trying to find out what is the problem of Africa. And what kept coming back was leadership, leadership, leadership. And so it was really at a very low moment in my life where I found myself in Korea that I was asking myself, is this all life has to offer? Is this what I want out of life? Is this me? And I was seeking for an answer for how do I become a better leader? How do I become a better communicator? How do I learn to motivate others and get more impact in the world? That I came across the word Toastmasters. And Toastmasters presented itself with two solutions: help to build better communicators, help to build better leaders. So for me, the moment my why and what they gave synced, there was no stopping. So I've been viscerally committed to it because of that. And so for me, I think if you're clear about your purpose maybe, or if you're clear about your why, and you engage Toastmasters very clearly with that why, most of the successful stories are those who do. For those who are not sure and just came in because it sounded good, but are not too connected with why they're in there or clear about their why, a lot of times you find these people either fall to the wayside or they don't become as amazing as those who are clear about their why. So my advice always is be clear about your why. And one opportunity for that, in the Toastmasters program, the first project you do is something called an icebreaker. And the icebreaker is supposed to be the easiest speech, where you just talk about yourself. But the truth is, I don't think so. I actually think it's the most difficult speech, because if you're not in to give your audience fluff, it would mean contemplation, reflection, and a confrontation of yourself. And when you do that and you do that well, you tend to have very good icebreakers, but it also sets you on a path to knowing yourself and realizing what you can give the world. And in my case, that's what it was. I had some good mentors help me, guide me through making that icebreaker, and it made me confront myself. And from that point, it was just moving up the trajectory.
Do you think Toastmaster can quantify its impact when it comes to global outreach, communication, and leadership?
Well, I know Toastmasters has trained and built millions. I can't say exactly how many millions, but I know it's built millions of people. I know a lot of great minds talk about Toastmasters in their books. Dale Carnegie, John Maxwell, name it, and refer people to Toastmasters when it comes to building their confidence or building their leadership. I know some of the top leaders in the world have gone through Toastmasters or have gone through similar programs like what Toastmasters offers. I know currently we have over 345,000 members, and I know we're in 142 countries. I know we're in multiple languages. So that should give you a general idea of how massive the impact is. In our current district, because Toastmasters has the headquarters, it has the regions, and then it has the districts under them. And we are in District 94. There are a lot more districts. Under District 94, we have about 24 countries currently in West Africa for just our District 94. That just tells you the number of districts. We currently just split into two. And within the district, you have what you call the divisions. And Ghana has two divisions, C and G. Under each division, you have areas. Under each area, you have 4 clubs or chapters. And under each chapter, you have 8 to 20 members. Each of them living, improving in their leadership, improving in their communication. Then you have those who are not Toastmasters, but are benefiting from seeing what Toastmasters has to offer. So the impact is massive, massive, massive. I know Toastmasters helped me in my work to become a better leader, to become a better communicator, even when I was working with government. So beyond that, that impact, that whatever impact I'm making is an indirect effect from Toastmasters. We've connected with corporate organizations who are also using Toastmasters to train their people, and they are being a lot more effective. Now, the values of Toastmasters, let me quickly mention them, are respect, integrity, service, and excellence, which means when you're a Toastmaster, you know that whatever you're doing, you need to do it with respect. You need to have integrity in the work that you do. You need to be ready to serve, and you need to ensure that you do it with excellence. So just imagine all these different transformations in all these different places I'm talking about. That is the kind of impact, or that is the kind of magnitude that Toastmasters is touching lives around the world.
Okay, you started a conversation by mentioning the founder and how he had the initial goal of training men to speak well. Do you think that goal has been realized, or do you think it has passed its goal and the goal has evolved?
The goal has evolved. First and foremost, remember I used the word men and I didn't use it to be representative of both sexes. So it was only men. It was only much later that women joined Toastmasters. And now we have if I look at Ghana's case, we have more women in Toastmasters in Ghana than men. So I think it's gone way beyond what he dreamed. I think it's been massive. I think the effect has been massive. Remember, it was started in the United States. I don't even think that it was generally thought to be this global or to reach this far out. So his dream has definitely been realized. 100 years, yes, looking back, I think we've done really, 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 really well.
Okay, thanks for responding to that. I'd like to hear, do you know any direct member from Toastmaster whose life has been transformed?
You mean besides me, right?
Yes, besides yourself.
The second distinguished Toastmaster in Ghana, because I was the first, Patricia Mensa Lakai, I saw her grow tremendously. I think when I initially met her, she was working in the US Embassy, and I think she was one of the secretaries at that point. This lady now is a powerhouse. She's an author of a couple of books. She's given talks all over the place. She's built a Toastmasters club. She's traveling all over the place. She's international. Amazing transformation. I have seen other distinguished Toastmasters from different corporate organizations who are doing massively well and transforming lives. In fact, there's this one interesting story of a gentleman called Selassie Ataja, who went for an interview with another gentleman called Tony Safo. He's currently the country manager for Kenya Airways in Sierra Leone. And according to Tony, he was so impressed with how Selassie Ataja interviewed that he asked them, what makes you so different? Why do you interview so well? Why are you so confident? And when Selassie Ataja mentioned it's Toastmasters, Tony signed up for Toastmasters immediately. So that's the kind of impact I'm talking about. We have people like Hepzibah Emeriole, who I met at a session when she was 17, took a chance on her, got into Toastmasters. And the transformation for Hepzibah is massive. You know, she's currently now working with Goldman Sachs in the UK. She's writing blogs. She's all over the place. She's amazing. She's really speaking well and really standing out. And recently I even met her parents in Abuja, you know, just through this relationship. We have people like Renee Metel-Nunu, amazing young lady. When I met her, she was about 19, shy, you know, a bit not so confident. Now massively confident. She's an area director, taking care of 4 clubs, and she's really grown in her leadership. Very assertive, very strong-minded, you know, massive change. There's Jeremy Queno, who would tell you that when he was younger, he was shy, a bit shy. But Jeremy's now like a force of nature, Jeremy Queno. He's now doing YouTube videos and was even invited from Ghana to go outside to the US among some of the top, you know, business people in the world to be on a panel. There's so many names I can mention. So many different names. Dr. Susie, who's a wealth management expert. And I remember when she met me initially, she wasn't so confident with her speaking. Now she's a massive speaker. She will blow you away when she speaks, when she engages, when she gives remarks. I mean, the story goes on and on and on. But for me, it's not so much even the growth in terms of communication or the growth in terms of leadership. It's the relationships. We have some really solid relationships. People have mentored people and they become more than sisters or friends. We have communities being created. We have amazing souls that we're seeing every day. Area Director Kwame, Miss P from one of the banks, Stanbic Bank. We have so many people who've been transformed, who are growing, who are living either more confidently, more open to feedback, more open to seeing change, better in their leadership, and so forth. So the stories are so many.
Wow, thank you so much for responding. You actually went to the second question I wanted to ask on, apart from communication and leadership, what else did people benefit? And you mentioned relationship, community, but just you did not mention my name. Papa, I did not mention my name.
Well, you're a Toastmaster, and what you're doing is amazing, because you see, I think for me right now, when you ask me, and it's interesting, a lot of people describe me, or when they try to introduce me, they talk about my oratory skills, which I think is yesterday. You know, 10 years ago, I was happy when somebody said, oh, he's a master of oratory. Now I'm more interested in he's a better leader, because that's the brand I'm trying to build. But the other thing, if we're going to talk about communication, is instead of just being a communicator, I'm trying to be a better storyteller. And the truth is, the world resonates with stories. And so that's the reason when you put this out there, I didn't hesitate to respond, because what you are doing is very clearly aligned with the goal and of what we are expecting with Toastmasters. We need to tell the type of stories that change lives. We need to tell the type of stories that connect to people's hearts. We need to tell the type of stories that transforms the communication, the community, transforms the country, transforms the continent. And so what you're doing is amazing. And quite frankly, I'm just waiting for this to come out so I can ask a lot of people to start to get connected with you, because anybody that allows, and you know what, I don't know if you're a Game of Thrones fan. Everybody loves this world sensation Game of Thrones and watches it. But what people don't know is we had 8 seasons of Game of Thrones. I don't remember how many episodes, but so much content, so many different scenes, so many highs and lows, so many disappointments, so many, excitements and so forth and so on. Now we're watching House of Dragons, which is also equally good, has gone for 2 seasons. But there's something that somebody said in Game of Thrones that for me is the highlight of the entire, all that content, put it aside, and that is the one thing. I believe it was by the actor Peter Dinklage. And this was in the last scene of the Game of Thrones. What he was saying was, he asked the question, what wins wars? And then he asked soldiers, he asked if it was kings, and then he responded, no, stories. And then he told the story of Bran and explained why Bran had to be king. It was a beautiful piece, it was a beautiful quote. But for me, that just tells you the power of stories and how stories, in fact, where we are today in Africa is a simple miscommunication of our story. And every time that somebody tells a story of a past African or tells our story right, the perception of Africa changes and we become more confident even in ourselves. And so when you have organizations that help people tell stories or shape stories, the world changes. So kudos to you for what you're doing, and thank you for letting our story go out just a little bit more.
Okay, thank you so much.
Visibility and opportunity for people to join Toastmasters and benefit from what Toastmasters is doing.
It's a great pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay, so now let's proceed to the global reach of Toastmaster, but now going deep down into what people stand to benefit when they join Toastmaster. So the question would be, how are the programs effective across the different cultures and regions that Toastmaster is present?
First of all, I'd like to say that Toastmasters is still a growing organization, and as a lot of big organizations, there's still room to grow and there's still room to be a bit more flexible. Like I said, Toastmasters has now expanded to a lot of different languages and is in 142 countries. I would love to see Toastmasters being done in Chi, in Ga, in Hausa one day, but we will get there. We're not there yet. So let's talk about where we are. A typical Toastmasters meeting, depending on the chapter, because the smallest block besides the members are chapters, and each chapter is a club. So depending on the chapter, they can meet once a week, twice a month, or once a month. Ideally, we recommend twice a month or once a week for you to make the best out of the program. A typical Toastmasters meeting is between 1 to 2 hours. Usually we recommend 2 hours for it to be worth the time. In a typical Toastmasters meeting, you have your president of the chapter opening the meeting, because they serve as a chairman in every meeting. So it already teaches you how to open a meeting as a proper chairman of a board or whatever you call it. Then that chairman passes on to what we call a Toastmaster. And these are volunteer roles, by the way. The Toastmasters play the role of an MC for that meeting. So everything is properly organized, everything is properly structured. That Toastmaster now calls in a support called the general evaluator, who's like the project manager for the meeting if the meeting was a project, ensuring that everything is properly structured, ensuring that everything is properly done, and ensuring that at the end of the meeting, they can give feedback so that the meetings can always keep getting better. The general evaluator is supported by evaluators who evaluate people's different projects, and evaluators who evaluate people's use of time, people's use of filler words like because we're trying to get people to improve on that, and then people's use of grammar. And that grammarian also adds a word of the day that helps us to improve and build on our vocabulary. Typically, in a Toastmasters meeting, you will have prepared projects or speeches. based on projects that they are doing. So the Toastmasters program has a curriculum, and currently that curriculum is called Pathways. And there are 11 different paths that you can choose to work on. And within these 11 different paths, you have 14 different projects and some elective projects as well. So these 1, 2, 3 prepared speeches or projects will come and do their project, which is 5 to 7 minute speech, or in some extreme cases, 20 minutes, or in some cases, a panel discussion of 40 minutes. When they're done, there's another section of the meeting called table topics. And table topics allows members to learn to speak off the cuff by calling people randomly and asking them questions and asking them to do 2 minutes in a very short time. So they just basically think off the cuff and speak. And this table topics has actually helped somebody like me to find it easy to quickly get on stage if I have to and get my thoughts together. And it's very helpful for helping to structure people's thoughts. So you first do the introduction section of the meeting, then there's the prepared speech section of the meeting, there's the table topics, and then we have the evaluators come and evaluate the entire meeting by evaluating those who've done the speeches, and then the overall use of grammar or time or any of those. And the general evaluator gives their general feedback and the meeting is closed. We try to make sure we do this these days it's become more virtual, but we do have some physical meetings. And when we're doing physical meetings, we try to make sure that the environment is conducive for people to want to learn. Typically, there are different types of people attract for their clubs. A lot of people like corporate or young professionals, but I like to expand my Toastmasters reach beyond that. So for me, even at an event center that I run, I try to bring my staff into Toastmasters, be it the gardener, or be it the cleaners, or be it the managers, because I believe that Toastmasters can benefit anybody and everybody and help them to build confidence. I also understand that if they are structured in their thinking and they're structured in their engagement, then my clients can get better service. Recently, I was on a call with one of my mentees. He wanted my help on something, and for 5 minutes he was talking to me, but he wasn't getting to the point. And I said, you know what, this year I don't want to waste any more time. If we're going to be doing this and engaged, I'm going to be advising you going forward, you have to join Toastmasters and you have to do it by the end of the week. Otherwise, don't bother calling me, because you're costing me too much time. Because whenever you're explaining something, you go around in circles, and it takes me so much time to have to figure out what it is that you're saying. It sounds a bit harsh, but for me, these days, things are too chaotic for us to be spending time communicating. So if we can continue to work more efficiently by communicating more effectively, we can get a lot done in a very short time. And so for me right now, it's critical. And I've decided that anybody I'm working with, we just recently finished a women's conference, and some of my volunteers that I was really happy with their work say they want to work with us next year. I've already told them I'm signing you guys off for Toastmasters, because I know that I'm going to get more value from you after you've gone through the program. So that is how efficient the program is, and that is how valuable the program is to me as a way of training or building capacity.
Wow, value and cost. I never knew communication had anything to do with that. Very inspiring. I'd like to know now, are there any knowledge exchanges between the different countries who are part of Toastmaster?
When we all met last year in Abuja, mingled as different Toastmasters. Now, here's the interesting thing. After I joined Toastmasters, I've also become a musician. I also do music. Interesting. I see them all as part of communication, right? And my music started trending among all the people within the district. And so we were playing it all over the place. So when I got to Abuja, most people wanted to be friends, wanted to get to know me, wanted to connect with me, which was beautiful, right? But the thing is, with each person I met, especially those who were not necessarily Ghanaian or Nigerian, or countries that I had not been in, the growth and the learning and the understanding of the different cultures was amazing and mind-blowing. So if you're talking about knowledge exchanges, yes, you get to appreciate, well, this is what they eat, this is what they do, this is how they do things. And the communication and the engagement and the understanding and the tolerance for each other, it was mind-blowing. I learned so much. I tasted different dishes, I tasted different things, I learned different things, I learned different cultures. And so that's organically going to happen because of that engagement. I have been privileged to host, we had the CEO of Toastmasters International in Ghana some time back, Dan Rex. We've had international presidents come through. We've had different people from different countries who've also been officers come through. So All these people, we get to learn and meet and read from them. Also, we have what we call the Toastmasters magazine that is always featuring different Toastmasters from different countries. And it gives us an insight into the world of these different people in different countries. So that engagement, these international and we have this final international program we do in different countries at the end of the year, where a lot of people from different countries gather, US, Taiwan, whichever country is chosen, and meet so many different people from different cultures. So that knowledge exchange will happen organically in all these meetings and all these exchanges and all these networking sessions that we go through.
Okay, inspiring.
What would you say is peculiar about Toastmasters, and what has made the organization stand for 100 years?
An organization is only as relevant as is needed. An organization is only as relevant as it continues to give value. The truth is, communication is still a plague when it comes to this world. People still need a voice to speak. People still stand scared. Public speaking is still probably the number one fear in the world. We need leadership in the world. We need better leaders. We need stronger leaders. We need leaders that are growing organically. Most people don't even understand what leadership is. A lot of people confuse leadership with management. Also, people are lonely. People need communities that they can connect to, and they can't find them. Communities of like-minded people who are supportive, who are collaborative and ready to connect and lead. And then finally, feedback is still something that a lot of people are afraid of and people don't take advantage of, no matter how valuable it is. And as long as Toastmasters continues to provide these things, and as long as people continue to yearn these things, Toastmasters will continue to be relevant and continue to grow. So that's really what it is. We provide something that is of vital importance to the human race. And we have learned to adapt to the changes that happen in the human race. So yes, in the past, you got a Toastmasters handbook and that you used to use to do your speeches, and we had to meet physically. Now we have adopted, you can have a Toastmasters meeting online. Our curriculum is now online. We use a lot of digital tools. And so we are also adapting to the world as it's changing, and that makes Toastmasters also relevant and keep going. But so long as we continue to provide those values that I spoke about, which are important to the human race, will continue to be relevant and will continue to grow.
Okay, thanks for that response. You mentioned Distinguished Toastmaster, which you are one yourself. What does it mean to be a Distinguished Toastmaster, apart from it being you?
Distinguished Toastmaster level is the highest level you can get to in a Toastmasters journey. It requires you to finish what we call 2 complete paths in the new program, the pathways. It requires you to do a number of very important projects. It requires you to serve in a district office setting. It requires you to build a club or sponsor a club, mentor a club, possibly coach a club as well. So it requires a lot of painstaking work and commitment to get to that level. And it's the most prestigious, it's also the most enviable, role or section or place to get to in Toastmasters. I was fortunate to be the first to be a Toastmaster in here, but I'm very also excited that we currently have 15 Distinguished Toastmasters. It was quite lonely when I was the only Distinguished Toastmaster, in the sense that when anybody talks about the organization, it's you they used to judge it. And so you can't mess up, because if you mess up, everybody says, if that's your best, then forget it, right? But now there are 15 other people that can share that weight with me, so I don't feel as much pressure. But yeah, that's what the Distinguished Toastmaster is. And we have quite a few around the world.
Wow. And I'm fortunate to be able to speak with one of the Distinguished Toastmaster. What are some of the stories of some notable Distinguished Toastmaster? I know you responded to some individuals that you said their story is impactful when it comes to their journey in Toastmaster. But do you have, in those 15 Distinguished Toastmasters you mentioned, are there some stories of individuals who have maybe excelled beyond borders, etc., that we can capture?
Dr. Susie Poplampua, I wish you could interview her. She's doing amazing as a Distinguished Toastmaster. She's very, very particular about how she presents herself. She's very particular about feedback. She's very particular about the way she engages. We also have Jeremy Quaino, who I mentioned before, who's excelling. Now he does these videos on fintech, and he's really a big name in fintech right now. Really putting himself out there, putting content out there. We have Tony Safo. I told you about him already. He's a country manager of Kenya Airways in Sierra Leone. We have Dr. Augustino Poku-Intri. We have Harriet Osei. She's also phenomenal, great lady, excelling in her career as well. We have Dinah Kaliobio Stambik, outstanding person, outstanding Toastmaster. We have, there's quite enough. Michael Adote, who's now doing a lot of leadership and management training. In fact, I don't know anybody who's a distinguished Toastmaster right now who's not putting themselves out there. It's one of those transformations that happened. Elizabeth Sasu, who is very adept in the airline industry, and we have quite a bit. Yeah, they really outside. Dr. Loretta Sapon, who's leading the women's desk at EcoBank, and a number of them, 15 of them. Yeah.
Okay. We are about to round up. I just want to ask a few more questions. What are some of the key events hosted by Toastmaster?
We have these award nights sometimes at the end of the year. We do have competitions. So the Toastmasters competition, we have the contests where people compete and we get a full winner at the district level, at the international level. And our meetings, sometimes we have special meetings as well. But I want to add this before I finish, since we're talking. So it's not just the distinguished Toastmasters who are doing amazing things. I actually want to talk about the leaders. So let me explain the leadership structure in Toastmasters. You have a district governor who's in charge of the district and the executives. Then we have the division directors who are like in charge of the divisions. And I already explained to you that Ghana has 2 divisions. So we have 2 amazing ladies. One of them is called Kadiatu Barry. And then the other one is called, we popularly call it MSP, but it's Priscilla Kono. And these ladies are phenomenal. I mean, their level of resilience, their level of tenacity in trying to lead the divisions to the next level, it's impressive. Under them, they each have their area directors. And under the area directors, they have the club officers. Now, each club has a president, vice president education, vice president membership, vice president public relations, and then your secretary, your sergeant at arms, and your treasurer. And these are all roles that force or help push people to build up on their leadership skills. And I have seen some massive transformation in the way these 2 leaders are leading, and even those with them. Currently in Ghana, we're even doing a movement called the Reboot, where we're trying to get more fire into the Toastmasters community. And that also requires putting in a lot of work to increase visibility. So I thought I should just tell you that there are different people also doing their bit to push this great movement called Ghana Toastmasters aside, and also ensuring that we're going into the corporate organizations and we're being more visible and getting more people attracted to being a part of this great institution.
Okay, sounds brilliant. Okay, great. What are some of the challenges that Toastmaster face in its mission and goals?
First and foremost, the fact that it's an organization that originated from the US and our headquarters are in the US means that our dues is paid in dollars. So anytime that our money depreciates or the dollar increases versus our money, it becomes difficult for members to pay their dues. And that has always been a bone of contention. So the reverse to that is the leaders in Toastmasters always need to find ways to produce more value so it's more relevant for somebody to put that amount of money aside to do. The truth is, if you look at most training programs of this quality, they are much more expensive than Toastmasters. But nevertheless, when you think about anything you have to convert to dollars to pay, it makes people cringe. And so because of that, a lot of people tend to battle with if they want to make that type of investment. The investment is just about $120 a year, but for some, that's a lot. The second thing is, with any organization, when it becomes too big, bureaucracy starts to kick in. So the beauty of what happens in the club at the club level starts to falter a bit as it moves up the ranks, because then, because of following regimentary, requirements, sometimes we miss out on the flexibility that we expect or see in the club. So that can be a bit of a challenge as well. Thirdly, culturally, whatever nuances we face culturally seeps into our Toastmasters program as well. So you will notice that with our clubs, we're in the same district, you will notice that there's a lot more commitment from our French counterparts in the Toastmasters program than from our English counterparts in the Toastmasters program. I can't say why. Maybe because they are more used to when there's a decision we follow. I don't know. And maybe with our cases, we like to argue about everything before we make it. I'm not sure. But culturally, we've noticed that there's a lot more commitment from their side than for us. Also, it's a huge shift difference. So, for example, I'm also a Rotarian. And in Rotary, people get into the program knowing that Rotary is about service. So they come with a mindset to serve. But in Toastmasters, even though service is one of our values, when people are coming in, what they see, the tagline they see is, I want to be a better public speaker. And then they take it for granted, I'm going to automatically be a better leader. So a lot of them don't psych their minds for the amount of service they need to put in to grow. They just want to come take, but they don't understand that the real value in the program is in the giving. And so that sometimes can be a challenge. And then finally, when you have people come into the program because they're excited about the fluff, but are not clear about their why, they later become dinosaurs in the program because they're not getting much benefit and they're not changing and they're not moving. So you will find that sometimes people may see, for example, some of these PTMs speaking on stage and they are swooned by how easily they speak or how easily they communicate and say, I want to be like that. But they've never really thought about the work required to do so. So they come in, they pay their dues, and then they leave bitter because they don't really see any real transformation. And they don't understand that it's not that you just plug in and automatically you transform, you actually have to put in the work. So these are some of the challenges that we face. One of the biggest challenges I would say is that I think we need to be a lot more visible than we are now. And I wish that we were in every instrument of governance in the country so that communication would be a lot more seamless and that leadership would be a culture of ours. And I'm praying that one day that will happen, where Ghana is a leadership culture-driven country, where everybody is a leader from parents to kids, and we had a leadership culture in families, and that's the dream one day, but we'll keep fighting. But these are some of the challenges that we deal with.
Okay, thanks for sharing those challenges. So how do you think the future of Toastmaster looks like, and what is its plans for impact and expansion?
I cannot speak to the future of Toastmasters globally. I'm sure there are a lot of great things that are going to happen. I can say for a fact that we do want to grow, and I can say for a fact that the district that we're in, which is already split in two, is looking to expand and expand more. I can only speak to the future of Ghana Toastmasters because I work closely with the two leaders of the community, and I'm also doing my part. And I can say for a fact that we want to be very, very aggressively visible because there are so many people in Ghana who can benefit from the program. We want to be we want to be aggressive in our growth and want to bring on board a lot of different people and a lot of dynamics into the community and grow the community. And I know that we definitely want to be very, very conscious about improving quality. So we want our meetings to be more interesting. We want our meetings to be more exciting. We want our meetings to be more creative. And we also want to make sure that the meetings are dealing with real issues. So it's not just fluff speeches anymore or just projects, but that people are talking about real issues that can get engagement, and we're having real dialogues that help us to become better citizens. I am hoping that Toastmasters will create better Ghanaian citizens that can help to support our country, help to push our country forward, and help to push our continent forward. But of course, this is my wish.
Okay, there's one question I just recall I wanted to ask you previously. As a distinguished Toastmaster, what are your benefits?
A very good question. There's visibility, there's respect, there's opportunity because people tend to believe that you have a lot to offer. But I think for me, my benefit is that respect. You know, there's a saying in the Spider-Man movie that he who is given, much is required. A lot of people require a lot more of you. They require you to speak better. They require you to lead better. They require you to be supportive. They require answers when they have questions. They require support when they hit a stumbling block. It can be scary, and if you let it scare you, it can destroy you. But it can also be amazing, and if you embrace it, though it's difficult, it helps you to grow tremendously. So for me, it took me about a year, which is unheard of, to become Distinguished Toastmaster, because I moved through the program pretty quickly because I was consumed by it. But the real growth happened when I started mentoring other people, when I started grooming other people, when I started serving, when I started playing the role of, you can call it like a bit of a godfather or whatever. That's where the real growth went in. When you hear the different questions, when people call you with the different challenges, when you have to navigate different situations, that's where the real growth comes in. So for me, I think when you become a distinguished Toastmaster, that's where the real journey begins. The journey of leadership, the journey of making a difference, the journey of legacy, the journey of impact.
Okay, so you're saying, so there's no money involved in being a distinguished Toastmaster?
No. Nobody pays. But here's the thing. Like I said, I've changed careers because of what I've gotten from Toastmaster. And there are a lot of Toastmasters that I know now who are either doing podcasts, who are doing blogs, who are playing the role of MCs, who are playing the role of coaches. And so it can help you to transform in your career or build another career, I can tell you that. But Toastmasters itself doesn't pay you, no. But you become more visible, so you get opportunity to make money in other ways.
Okay, so what would you say the dues of Toastmaster is used for?
The dues of Toastmasters is used for running the club, the headquarters. So paying salaries for those who approve the program, keep the curriculum going, manage the website and all that stuff, the portals. And also it's used some is disbursed to the district. So when the district leaders are moving around, they are playing tickets and they are playing fairs and things like that. So it's for running the organization.
Okay, thanks for responding to that. Now this is the final chunk of question where we'll be looking at feedback from the community of Toastmasters, the people being engaged. How would you say Toastmaster gather feedback from its members or its community?
Well, you can always call headquarters when you have any issues. We have the portals through which you can give feedback. You can also give feedback through your officers all the way to the district and the district to headquarters. So that's generally, and then we also have different membership surveys that we do internationally. And then there's also administrative meetings that happen yearly. So all these are channels for feedback from the community. Within different communities, sub-communities as well, like for example in Ghana Toastmasters, we put out a number of surveys during our club officer trainings, which are twice a year, or sometimes clubs ask their members for feedback, or sometimes officers engagement. Currently, what the new 2 division directors have done is they've put together both their divisions in a WhatsApp group where they have all the officers there, and we're consistently engaging the officers and taking feedback as to what their fears are, their concerns are. Recently, I even ran a survey because of this reboot movement we're doing, trying to understand what are the issues, what were the implications, what were the benefits of this program and how we can improve it. So we're always looking for different ways of giving feedback. It's either informal or it's formal, but we're consistently collecting feedback and we're consistently passing it along.
Okay, maybe one last question now. Final question would be, what kind of Africa would you want to see in the coming years?
I want an Africa where we are proud to be African. I want an Africa where we can tell our stories without it being diluted. I want an Africa where we're curious to know more about our history. I want an Africa where we don't feel that we need to subscribe to ideologies that are westernized, but that we can create our own. I want an Africa where we appreciate the sense of community the way our forefathers did. I want an Africa where we can have conversations without fighting about our differences and opinions and ideologies. I want an Africa where we're all politicians, but not the sense of politics as we see it now, but politicians in the sense that we're interested in the way our resources are used, and we dialogue and contribute and give good, sustainable solutions to how these should, so we could grow. I want an Africa where every citizen is proud to be a citizen and is doing their bit as a citizen to see things happen. In fact, to put it in summary, I want an Africa where we're all leaders and we're all communicators and we're all committed to see Africa become top.
Reboot! Say Imperials!
I hope you are inspired, because we are. Stay tuned and don't forget to subscribe to all our social media channels. It's displayed on the screen, and don't forget to press that notification bell to receive updates when they come by.
It's Visa.